Shooting at night is something that a lot of photographers shy away from because they think it's a little bit difficult. They're not sure how to do it because they haven't had the experience at doing it. I love night portraits and night photography in general because I can see it as a way of getting unique images. Images that stand out above everything else. Shots taken through the daytime are very common. There are a lot of images around like that. Night photography tends to be a little bit less common, so your shots tend to look a bit more unique. Also, the lighting conditions that we have at night are very unusual. We've got a whole range of different coloured light sources that we can use, and we can be creative with those light sources. The other thing I love about night photography is that I've got a period of time to be creative with each image. Instead of shooting at a 1,000th of a second or a 500th of a second as I would through the daytime, I've often got 10, 20 or 30 seconds or more to create things, to play around with light, to move subjects or move my camera, to create things that I just can't do through the daytime. Now, there are a few things that you need to know before you go out and shoot night portraits, just to make the job a lot easier and to get your workflow working so much better. Planning is a big part of it. I like to sit down and plan a lot of my shoots. As you've seen in my other classes, I talk about planning shoots quite often. But particularly when you're shooting at night, it's a good idea to have a plan in place. Plan the location that you're going to be in. Make sure that it's a location that can give you a lot of variety, a location that's going to work for the sort of shots that you want. And also think about your subject, who it is that you're photographing. Talk to them about the results that you're looking for, or the motions that you want them to follow if you're doing a bit of subject movement in your shot. Okay, same thing, here we go. Yeah, that's great. Maybe hands up a little bit, yep, that's it. G'day, we're here at Customs House in Newcastle, in the beautiful foreshore park next to Newcastle Harbour. We're going to do some night portraits tonight. I've got a few of my mates here to help me out, and we've got Maxine, a model you've seen before in some of our classes. We're going to mix up the techniques a fair bit tonight. We're going to shoot with some LEDs and we're going to do some work with speed lights. Because we're shooting at night, our speed lights have adequate brightness and our LEDs have adequate brightness for what we want. When we're shooting through the daytime, they struggle a little bit. So we'll try a few techniques, I'll explain it as we go, and hopefully you'll learn a bit about night portraits. For these shots, we're just going to use a few different variations on our flash photography. We're going to shoot with a bare bulb off-camera flash, just with our speed lights. Then we're going to do some stuff with on-camera flash, just to show you how we can modify on-camera flash. And then we're going to do some backlighting and using some snoots, just so that we concentrate that beam of light a little bit. So we're going to play around a little bit just in this general area and show you the differences. Let's try that, Maxine. Yeah, that's great. Turn your face that way a little bit more. Yep, that's it. Eyes above the camera here. Yep. Great. Now just look down the corridor down there. Okay, that's terrific. Beautiful. Stay there. I'm just going to zoom in a bit. Okay, here we go. Lovely. Now just turn your face to look out over the camera. That's it. Just point your nose at the light. Yep, and look out over my head. That's it. Good. Drop your chin and just look at the ground for me. Yep. Okay. Ah, beautiful. Now I'm going to put the flash on the camera, but I'm going to do a direct flash shot first, and then we're going to diffuse the flash. So I'm going to aim the flash at a reflector and bounce it back onto Maxine, just to soften it down a little bit. Okay, here we go, Maxine. This is flash on camera. Okay, that's our flash on camera shot. Now we're going to use a diffuser and we're going to diffuse this flash a little bit. So I'm just going to grab the reflector out of the bag. I can't see. Okay, what we're going to do here is I've got my flash on top of my camera. We're going to aim this flash at the reflector, and that light's going to bounce back onto Maxine in a softer way because we've made the small light source into a large one, and it's going to bounce back in a softer way. So I do need to change my position because the angle of this light's not going to work very well. So I'm just going to move a little bit further forward. I'm going to tilt that light up too, Jen, because we want this light coming down onto Maxine. So, yep, that's the sort of thing we want. Okay, and I need to turn my flash up brighter because we're losing a bit of light because it's travelling further. I'm going to zoom it in a little bit so that we don't lose too much off to the side. And I'm also going to open up my aperture a little bit, all to compensate for the loss in light that we get from bouncing this flash. Okay, here we go. Ready? There we go. That light looks so much softer than it did before, and all we're using is a speedlight flash and a reflector. Jen, can you come a little bit closer to me? Yep, that's it. And maybe aim it at me a little bit more. Yeah, that's it. Okay, Maxine, here we go. That's it. Good, just turn that face a little bit that way. That's great, Jen. Yep. Okay, well done. That looks great. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to take the flash off the camera and we're going to push the flash through the scrim. We're going to get just the reflector part of the reflector. We're going to take it off. We're just going to have the translucent part, and we're going to fire the flash through the translucent part so that it gives a nice soft light. And you need to be back further, Scott, because we want to fill up this reflector. You okay with that? Okay. Terrific. You can see that setup. We've just got the speed light in behind the scrim, or the translucent part of our reflector. The flash is filling up that translucent part and is softening that light onto Maxine. Now we're going to move in closer, and that will make this light even softer on Maxine. So Jen, you move closer. That's it, a little bit more. Yep, and you move closer, stay the same distance. Yep. Now, because our flash is a little bit closer, we're going to have to drop our exposure down a little bit because it's just going to be a bit too bright. Maybe a step back, Steve. Yep, that's it. I'll just shoot one like this and you'll see it's just that little bit brighter because we've moved in closer. Yep, so I'll just drop that aperture down a little bit, drop it down to f8. Okay, here we go. Lovely. Eyes to camera, Maxine. Yep. Oops, here we go. Yeah, beautiful. Because we're talking about portrait photography in this class, we need to consider our subject as well. You need to talk to them to explain to them what you're trying to achieve. You need to make sure that they feel comfortable in front of the camera, particularly if they've got to hold still for a period of time, which is often the case when we're shooting at night. So make sure that they're leaning against something, make sure they're sitting comfortably so that they can reasonably stay nice and still. Now, when we want people to stay still, we don't want them to concentrate on staying still because then we tend to get expressions that tend to be very stark. So we want them to be relaxed. That expression is still the major part of our image, that face. So we want them to feel comfortable and feel relaxed, but just not move around too much. A little bit of movement can sometimes be okay. Sometimes we want a lot of movement. If we're shooting something that we want some creative blur in the shot or some flash and blur, which we're going to talk about later on in this lesson, then we explain to them how we want them to move. We explain to them the way we want them to move, how far we want them to move, all of those things. Now, often we need to shoot multiple shots for these things to turn out perfectly. That's not a problem. It doesn't cost you any more to take a few shots, but the quicker you can get it and the quicker you can get the results, then the quicker you can move on to the next idea that you have. So talk to your subject, make sure they know what's going on, and make sure that it's a team effort. They put in the effort and you put in the effort, you'll get a much better result that way. So now I've got no idea what we're going to do next. I'm just standing here looking as if I know what I'm doing, but my brain's gone blank. No, it hasn't. I've got a list in my pocket of all the things that I want to do. So we're going to do some backlight now. We're going to put flash in behind Maxine to backlight her. We're going to only use that rim light behind her, and then we're going to use some flash from on the front as well. That's okay, like that. Yep, we'll just turn your shoulders a little bit that way. Yep, that's it, and your face back that way. Yeah, okay, so you're up here, Steve. Just next to the light, pretty much. That's it. Okay, now we'll just do a test shot first. See what we've got. Yep, Jen, you need to aim yours up a bit higher, please. I want less on the floor and more on Maxine's hair. That's it. That's all right. Here we go. Okay, that's good. Stay there, guys. Okay, once again. Yep. That's good. Nice one. Should have got the tram going past, but I didn't. All right, Maxine, can you stand around the front a little bit for me? I want those feet together and that knee across in front. Yep, probably that knee might be better, mightn't it, because the way the split is. Yeah, that's it, yeah. Keep those hands there. That's good, yep. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Okay, can we do some hands up near your hair here? Now just look out over the camera here. Yep. Okay, good. Now can you come forward about 4 steps once you're up closer here? Yep, that's there. That's good. Yep. Okay, that's great. Yep, great. Turn your face further over that way. Yep, good. And turn your eyes out over the camera. Yep, that's good. I like that hair. Just push it back now. Yep, there we go. Okay, that's good. Yes, 1 foot forward, this one trail back, and just want you looking down at the ground behind you there. Yeah, that's it, that's good. Okay. Across a bit. Yeah, that's lovely. Okay. Now just lift your head up and look out that way for me. Yeah. Okay. Great. One more. Yep. Ah, perfect. Now we might do some walking ones. Okay, but we need to mark that point because you're going to step back over there. I'll put this leaf where you are. There. Okay. So that's the point that we're going to take the shot, and that's where I'm focused. So I just want you to take a couple of steps, but your right foot's going to be there, and then you're going to look out over that way. Okay? Yeah, that's good. Let's focus. Okay, when you're ready, we'll do that. Ready, Jen? So your right foot's going down on there, but bigger steps if you can. Okay? Yep. Okay, when you're ready. That's all right. Try not to look down to the tape if you can. What you just looking out over that way?
Which way do you want me looking?
Over that way, please, yeah. That's it. Start on the opposite foot. It's not an easy thing to do, is it? Yeah, so we need those, maybe start where you were, but take bigger steps, because it looks a little bit tentative, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, even if you can just run a little bit, but as long as you just plant your foot around about there. Okay, that's it. That's okay. Don't worry about the foot. We'll just keep going. That's it. Yes, that's it. But we want tall and confident and yep. Yep, that's okay. Yes, that's better. Okay, but we want the other foot, so maybe start on your opposite foot. Sorry? No, that's okay. That's good. Yep. Okay, yep. Oops, I shot a bit too early, I think. Yep.
I'm looking at the flash and I'm looking at the feet and trying to get everything together. Okay, go. All right, one other thing maybe that might help. When you get close to there, take it and turn back that way to look over that way a little bit. Okay, so can you come around here and plant yourself there? So you're turning around to look what's back there, Maxine. Okay. Okay, ready? That's good, that looked really good. Yes. Yep, got it.
We can use flash or we can use any sort of light behind our subject to backlight our subject so that light is facing towards the camera. We don't particularly want to have that light visible from the camera position because then we're going to get lens flare. We're going to get really bright spots in our image and it's probably going to obscure our subject. So we need to have that light in behind our person when we're doing these portraits. If we light someone solely from behind, then we'll get a silhouette because they're dark on the front side because we're not lighting them from the front, but they're backlit. So we tend to get a silhouette or we get a rim-lit subject. So we've got a thin layer of light around the outside of them, which can look really effective. Generally, when we're shooting silhouettes or we're shooting totally backlight shots of people, it's best to have them in profile, to have their face directly to the side so we can see the features of their face. If they're facing directly towards the camera, it just looks like a silhouette of someone just with a dark black head. So use that technique of using that profile if you're shooting silhouettes. We can also use backlighting in conjunction with front lighting. So we can use a light behind our subject, either a flash or a street light or some other sort of LED light behind them, and then we can light them from the front as well. And that's generally what I tend to do more often. We can, if there's a bright spotlight in the background somewhere, you can position your camera so that that bright light is right behind your subject's head. So that will highlight their hair and put a halo effect around their hair and their upper body.
All right, for the last shot of the night, we're going to use some of this red LED that our council has so thoughtfully placed in these seats. So we're going to use that to help to throw a little bit of a highlight in the shot, just to make it look a little bit different. And we're going to do a little bit of movement with the camera, some in-camera movement. So they're the two shots that we're going to finish off with. You might have noticed that we've got an LED here along with the flash that we've been using. That's simply so that we can get exposure on our video for the video of this class. It doesn't affect our flash exposure at all because the LEDs are much less powerful than the flash. So the LEDs are just there so that our video can come out properly. It's not affecting our exposure at all. So we need to be careful here that our flash doesn't override the LED light that's in the seat. So we've turned our flash down a little bit. My aperture's been reduced a little, just so that we don't overpower that LED. Okay, here we go, Maxine. Lovely. Yep, we might hang on to that train again. Maybe pick it up a little bit more so that it blows a bit and it's a bit more visible.
I flip it this way, it blows all the way.
That's okay. Yeah, I have the same trouble with my hair. Yeah, lovely. Lift it up a bit higher. Yeah, that's it. Delicate fingers. Lovely. That's good. Now with your feet, can you angle your legs back? Yes, that's it. That's great. Great, now turn to look over at Steve's belly. Yep. That's it, and eyes back to me. Yep. Terrific. That's great.
Now, one of the last things I want to talk about is something that's a little bit more creative, and it's movement at night. Because we're using those longer exposures, we can use movement to create wonderful images that just can't be created any other way. Very unique images. Every image that we create is different, it's unique. Now, we can do it in a number of different ways, but the major way that I use is camera movement. So I'll take my camera off the tripod, I'll use a flash to light my subject so it gives me that sharp image of my subject, and then my camera will be moving around, whether it's just incidentally or on purpose. I'll move that camera around so those lights in the background move around and they give me shapes and lines and patterns that allow me to create images that I can't get any other way. You'll see a lot of the images that are accompanying me now are shot in this way, so that I'm hand holding my camera, I'm using my flash to give a sharp image of my subject, and the lights in the background are moving around. So it can give you some really great results.
All right, last couple. I'm just going to do some jiggly ones. So we're going to get you standing out here. Might get you actually walking towards me. Okay, Steve, yep. You're going to be walking backwards as Maxine moves. Yep, just there's fine, Maxine. Just let me know if I'm going to run into anything because I'm walking backwards. So we're going to do a bit of in-camera movement here. I'm going to set my shutter speed to about 1/10 of a second or so, and the camera's just going to be moving a little bit. The flash is going to freeze Maxine in the shot, and the movement of the camera over that longer exposure is just going to give a little bit of a jiggle to those lights in the background. Okay, so you just walk straight towards me, just looking between me and Steve. Okay, you ready, Steve? Yep. Go. Okay. All right, that's cool. That's good. We'll do it again. Yes, please. All right. When you're ready, go. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's great. That's a bit better. Yeah, you want to see the effect? Maxine just said that she learned to walk from me. I'm just repeating what she said in case the microphone didn't pick it up. You'll notice that we both walk in a similar way, actually. When you're ready, Maxine. Yep. Keep going. Yep. Okay. One more we're going to do over here in front of the station sign. Might get you up here a little bit more so I can get the sign in the shot. We're not going to move this time, we're just going to pose you there. I'm just going to shoot with the station up in the background. So I'm still going to do that slow shutter speed. All right, ready to go. Just looking straight out that way over Robbie's head. Yep. That's it. Good. Yep. Great, and okay, here we go. Well, that's a wrap for today. We've done some really good stuff. We've tried a whole lot of different techniques, as you've seen. Have a look at the images that accompany this video and you'll be able to see the results you can get. We haven't used very expensive equipment. All we've got are speed lights and a reflector and a camera. So all you need to do is think about your exposures, think about your lighting and try it. Get out and try it, otherwise you're not going to be able to learn this stuff.